Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time visiting, my name is Tiana and I upload lifestyle, home, and fertility videos on this channel. Today is a TTC Journey update. I did go to the doctor's today and I wanted to just unload and decompress and just get everything out before I forget anything because you know your girl's memory is not so great. I did take notes in my new notebook, which I think I shared with you guys before. But yeah, if you're interested, please keep watching. Okay, so your girl just got home from work. I know I probably look tired, so please excuse the bags under the eyes. I'm working through it. I've been staying up, no joke, not to get off topic. I will get to this. But I've been staying up binge watching Supernatural for the last 3 days, and I was already hooked before, but I kind of fell off, and now my husband just wants me to catch up. So I have been just staying up super late, and I feel it. Like, I'm too old for this. And you know what? Basically, the doctor told me I'm too old for a lot of things. So let's just go ahead and dive right into today's appointment. So today is February 18th, and I did have my second fertility specialist appointment. I guess this is my first with this doctor, so I guess it's the first time consultation appointment. But it was very interesting. So a lot of it was redundant because I did just have the same exact appointment a month ago. And if you haven't been following my journey, just watch I think it's episode 4 of my TTC journey. I did give an update of my last fertility specialist appointment. But long story short, we found out we had fertility benefits after we saw that doctor, so I had to move to another one that was in network, and that was my appointment from today. So I just want to dive right in and talk about what he went over with me and what's new that I learned and kind of next steps moving forward for us. Okay, so first things first, I got there, I filled out the normal necessary paperwork, and when I got to speak to the doctor, he went through all of my lab work with me. I know my last update to you guys, I did let you know I went and got all my labs done, or that I was going to do all my labs that my first doctor had recommended that I do. So I did those, so that was good. I'm good with labs. I got it all out of the way. He did go through a few things with me, though, that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So I guess we'll start with just me and everything he said about me and then go into what he said about Derek. Oh, actually, let's flip that. We'll go with Derek first because he didn't say much about Derek because A, he didn't come to the appointment, and B, he's only done the one semen analysis. So what I've already talked about before was that he did a semen analysis way back in June. They said the count was low, but the mobility was freaking through the roof. So because of that, yes, they think it's a factor, but they also think that they want him to get retested just to see if it was a fluke type of test, because his mobility was so good. Even though his mobility was really good, the count was still too low for the doctor to recommend an IUI kind of couple of cycles for us. He said that if Derek continues to test low or in the numbers that he was, I don't quite remember what those numbers were, that he just wouldn't recommend IUI for us even at that number, which brings us kind of to the IVF route as far as trying to get pregnant. So next steps for Derek is to get another screening done, get another semen analysis taken care of, just to see if his count changes, because with guys, they're constantly producing sperm, and so that count could change, and I think it's every 3 months type of thing. If you change your diet, you won't see a different number until 3 months later. So they do want to get him retested for that, as well as a genetic screening. So he hasn't had any blood tests done like I did, and the one screen that they do want to get for him is the sickle cell trait, because lo and behold, your girl is a carrier of the sickle cell. I think if you made a list of all Black problems, I think I've got 99% of them. So I've got the sickle cell trait. So now they want Derek to get tested to make sure that he isn't also a carrier, because that does increase the chances of baby Smith to have sickle cell anemia. So that's it for Derek. That's pretty much all he has to do. Go get a semen analysis done and give blood, and he'll probably do that here shortly. I'll set him up within maybe the next 2-3 weeks. So getting into me, Since I just mentioned, I did test, I guess, positive. I don't know. I guess it's positive test or whatever for the sickle cell trait. I am a carrier of that. So that's one thing I got out of my my blood test results. Everything else looked pretty good except for like kind of something that's a big deal. And I'll get to that right now, I guess. My AMH. So I don't have what that stands for, but essentially the way it was explained to me is that your AMH number dictates like your reserve, like egg, the amount of eggs you have in reserves, I want to say, is how he explained it to me. So as you get older, so women are like born with all their eggs and then you release one a month, but you lose like a gazillion eggs a day, basically. Like, well, not a day, but you lose more eggs than you like let out throughout your lifetime. So this number kind of helps them to understand like what your reserves are like, so you know how much time you really have to get pregnant based on how many eggs you probably have kind of stored up. For me, my AMH number was 0.323, and my doctor said it should be above 2.0. So I have like the egg reserves of like a 60-year-old lady, basically, is what he told me. So at first, when he was telling me this, he was like, oh, your bloods are good. Looks like you have sickle cell anemia, or I think it's sickle cell anemia, the sickle cell trait, whatever. You have the trait. Yes, I'm a carrier of the trait. He's going through everything else, like your blood sugar looks good. One thing he did say was like my hemoglobin or whatever, it seemed normal. It was normal, and he said that's not really, it shouldn't be normal for someone with fibroids. So that was like oh, maybe this test is off. Maybe we can redo this test. And then he saw this number, which is the 0.323 on my tests, when he said it should be above 2. But then he also saw in my paperwork from my last doctor that they saw 5 follicles on one ovary. So to him, he said with that number of follicles, like reserve follicles or some whatever that means, I don't obviously understand, but having the 5 around that time of the month or whatever in reserve or whatever, that AMH number should be higher. So they weren't calculating to him, so he wanted to go and do the ultrasound and see for himself, because he was saying the number didn't sound right with what the doctor had put in his notes. So with that being said, he did look a little bit nervous going through my paperwork with me. He started off like, we're talking about Derek and his stuff, and then he saw that number and he got a little like, you can see like the concern in his face, like, ooh, we might not have a lot of time because you ain't got no eggs, girl. You dried up, dusty, like old lady uterus. It was all over his face. But when we did the ultrasound, his kind of demeanor changed, which was good. So I keep looking down because I have my notes, but we went in, we did the ultrasound, and he was able to find both of my ovaries. In the past, because of my fibroid on my left side, a lot of the times when I get ultrasounds, they aren't able to even like find my left ovary. But he was able to get pictures of both ovaries. He did see that I had 5 follicles on each side, which in his view meant that my AMH number should have been more like 1.4 in my blood test, not 0.323. So he decided that I won't have to go back for any more blood work, at least not to redo that test anymore, since he was able to just see it himself. He's going to kind of just throw out that number completely. For the normal kind of follicle reserve that I should have as a 33-year-old woman, it should be like 10 and 10, and I have 5 and 5. So I'm definitely low on that front. So both of us, Derek and I, are both kind of like not making Baby Smith happen anytime soon, obviously. So, but he did perk up. So when the doctor saw that I had 5 and 5, his whole like demeanor kind of changed, and he was like, bet, like, I can work with 5 and 5. You know what I mean? He was saying that this 0.323, he was expecting to go in there and see 2, maybe 3 on each side. I think that's what he said, 2, like about 2, maybe 3 or on each side. But with 5 and 5, he said he can basically, like, he could work with that. So that was, I guess, reassuring to hear, just to see, like, his whole attitude change, because he did kind of look concerned going in, and then after he was like, oh, like, we got this, like, I can get you pregnant. That's basically what he said. I can get you pregnant. What I want you to do is go home and talk to your husband and see exactly what kind of your plans are moving forward, what you really want, because we're not getting any younger, obviously. So I'm 33. I have like half the eggs that I'm supposed to have. So he said he doesn't really recommend an IUI, or just time wise, because with natural methods of getting pregnant, you have more chances of having like twins or maybe even triplets, because they do give you medicine and you produce more eggs at once, which I don't have a lot anyways. So if I'm like producing or like releasing eggs that I don't really have a lot of backups for, he just doesn't recommend me even like accidentally getting pregnant with twins. One, because I'm getting older. Two, because I have fibroids in my uterus, and so it's already would be in high risk pregnancy. He just doesn't think that natural, like, trying to get me pregnant naturally would be the best route. He thinks that IVF in our case would be the best route, for us. Yeah. So I mean, I guess that was good. It was one of those things where I just wanted a recommendation. I wanted to find out what was wrong. And so I got a little bit more clarity today, and knowing that that is his recommendation. And I really like this guy, so we're definitely going to stay. I think I'm okay with it. So I guess, moving forward after I talk to Derek, because I still haven't talked to him, he's not home. It looks like that will probably be the route that we go. If this is still something that we want to try and do this year. So we're gonna talk about that when he gets home. One thing the doctor did want us to really talk about is the amount, like how many kids we want. We'll see. We have plenty of, I don't want to say options, but obstacles is what I want to say. We have plenty of obstacles and hurdles to get over, but at least we crossed like one little hurdle, is figuring out what we want to do, or like what we're being recommended to do, and it looks like IVF is what we are recommended to do. So it's just a matter of getting Derek tested. And yeah, so next steps for me is I need to go back in, and I have been asked to come back in for an HSG test. Now I also have that here. Let me see. I have, what is it? Histera something gram. Yep. I need to go back and get a HSG. And that needs to be between cycle day 6 and cycle day 10. I forgot to look at my phone, but we're going on vacation soon. I don't even know. I think so, like maybe mid next month. So I'm supposed to call the doctor on like cycle day 1, let them know what's going on, and schedule my appointment so that I can come in within like cycle days 6 to 10. And they're going to like insert a dye into my uterus just so they can see if I have any blockages or anything in my fallopian tubes. So I heard, they told me it's a little uncomfortable and to take some like ibuprofen before I come. So that's kind of the next thing that I need to do, which I'm excited about, because I want to know what's wrong. I want to be able to see the whole picture and have all the facts before we actually go down the like IVF route, even though that's what they are recommending for us. And I think that's the only next step for me. And then once I complete that, then they told me to go ahead and schedule my follow-up appointment, and then we'll start talking about, when we're actually going to do the thing. So I don't know. It's exciting. It's scaring. It's frustrating. It's everything. Like today's appointment was a lot. Just going in there and getting all this information, and like him basically telling me I have an old lady uterus and I have no eggs. Like, I was like trying not to cry, like not because I was sad, but just like defeated, just like, oh, like it's always something. Nothing can ever be like smooth sailing. So just sitting there listening to him, just like, and he was so sweet, but he was just like talk, like over explaining everything, which was great. But then going in and getting the ultrasound and him not being able to find my left ovary, oh, it was so painful. because of course they do the probe you, they poke you, and they oh, it was so uncomfortable. And he was pushing so hard just trying to find my uterus. I mean, not my uterus, trying to find my left ovary. It was so painful and uncomfortable. And Derek couldn't make it today, so I was just all by myself. But it's done. It's over with. Hey, I survived. I got Chick-fil-A after, so everything worked out. But yeah, that's it for today's update. If you haven't caught up, go back and watch some of my TTC videos. I will keep you guys up to date. I'm sure I'll have another appointment here within the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then I'll hop back on and let you guys know how that went. Hope you guys are having a blessed week, and I will talk to you soon.